Welcome back. The technocrats in the Namibian government have gathered at Swakopmund for their annual review retreat for the third Governors Forum. The retreat seeks to leverage on the technological advancements to drive economic growth and social progress in Namibia, as well as prioritizing the provision of clean water and sanitation facilities in undeserved areas, amongst other barriers. To delve more into this, I'm now joined by the Secretary to Cabinet, Dr. Gerorge Simataa. Doctor, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Yes, good evening, Nina.
Doctor, to start with, perhaps you can talk to us about, the primary objectives of the Executive Directors and Chief Regional Officers retreat.
Yes, this is a very important retreat, Nina, the very first one of its kind, where Executive Directors and Chief Regional Officers are going to meet for the very first time in the history of the public service of Namibia. The purpose and the objective of this retreat really is to really energize ourselves and refocus our leadership at the level of CEOs and at the level of CROs and EDs, so that we all together could mobilize the public service to become what it is. We also want to assess our organizational leadership skills and to see how we can together build a very strong plan that can help us in our change management skills. Importantly is that we are aware that now and again there is a retreat of ministers or cabinet ministers that His Excellency President might call from time to time. So we are of the view that once we talk as EDs and CROs and come together with a blueprint that could work into the cabinet retreat, should anyone and any be called at one time, we will be in a position to assist our political leadership. But important is to look at ourselves, to see how we can communicate with the chief regional officers and the EDs, the center and the regions. We need to communicate often. We have noticed that there are a few things that have gone wrong because of the lack of this collaboration.
Thank you. Doctor, could you also please provide for us the key topics that will be addressed? And of course, adding on to that, are there any specific challenges that will be, focused on during the retreat?
Yes, we have a very packed agenda. We have decided to go on Friday and we will start on Saturday, and we are utilizing Saturdays and Sunday out of work as a way to show our commitment to what we are doing, so that we are back to the offices on Mondays in the afternoons to start work on Tuesday. The agenda is very packed, and we are allowing discussions. There will be a 20 minutes presentation by presenters who have well researched on the ideas on some topics and discussions, and therefore there will be an open discussions. Each topic will be discussed for about 1 hour. One of the issues that we thought is important is on the issues of food security in Namibia and our policy imperatives. That means that we need to debate and to see on how best we can advise our political leadership on issues of food security. We know there are many policies that are out there. The government has put policies that are very good for us, but the implementation on how we put these things all together has become one of the big problems. And the implementers are the chief regional officers and the executive directors. And it's important they should understand what is contained in the food policy, what is contained in the food security policies of Namibia, and how we could work together to implement these things. Second one is the issue of provision of clean water and sanitation. We hear now and again, yes, the Vice President, the Deputy Prime Minister spoke on the weekend. We heard that there was money meant for water in the north, but that water money has disappeared. We need to interrogate these matters and see how best we can solve them. But important is when we need to provide services to our communities. Issues of water, issues of sanitation. Why are they not delivered? What is the bottleneck? Who is in charge at the regional level is the CRO. And these are the best people we would like to engage. Who gives the budget is the people at head office, the EDs. So these are important areas that we need to talk about. Issues of youth and women empowerment, how we would manage rural development through industrialization. It's a very important topic. It's part of the discussion. The role of education, the role of health, skills building in enhancing potential for economic growth. So we want to unpack these things and make sure that we understand them and we make service delivery be possible. Very important is unpacking a revised national house policy. The housing policy has been approved by cabinet, and we need us as implementers to understand it. we need to spend about 2 to 3 hours unpacking what is our responsibilities, what are the stakeholders, and for these reasons we have invited also other people, like the Sheikh Dwellers Association and other stakeholders who are involved in this whole thing. And we have also issues of cyber security. We have seen in the past a little bit of cyber attacks from the other people, and we need to understand this as bureaucrats and the technocrats that are supposed to look at these things. So it's a host of things, including cross-cutting issues such as performance management, decentralization, and all related topics that are common to everybody.
Thank you so much. Just lastly, Dr. Simataa, before I let you go, talk to us about how you envision this retreat, contributing to the overall strategic goals of the infrastructure development on national, economic growth.
I'm hopeful that this retreat will be what I call a festival of ideas. People will talk and will not understand now what is happening with the implementation of our projects. For example, you will hear many times that we have had so much money, but the money has been returned to Treasury because implementation was lacking. We want to unbundle those issues and find out what could be the problems. So we are very hopeful that our dialogue, our conversation, our consultations, and strong talks between the two groups of people would help to enhance service delivery in the future.
Dr. Simataa, thank you so much for joining us. All the best at the retreat, and we look forward to hearing the positive outcomes from this meeting.
Thank you for this opportunity.
When we come back, our conversation